Okay, so welcome to the Ashes to Diamond podcast. And today I have got a very special lady on the show, and that's Anna Miles, and she's from Equine Mementos. So Anna is absolutely passionate about horses and in particular thoroughbreds. She runs a boutique breeding, spelling and sales preparation farm in the middle of the South Island here in New Zealand. And she was awarded a scholarship from the New Zealand Thoroughbred Association in 2001 to attend the Irish National Stud Training course where she was this top student. She then spent many years travelling with horses and has worked around the world, and she now bases herself obviously in the South Island in New Zealand, and she's done that so that she can enjoy a good lifestyle with her husband, and where they breed from a couple of mares each year, and they look to sell these foals as weanlings. She also works as the clerk of scales for race meetings in the south of the Waitaki River, and also works on a casual basis as a relief teacher at the local high school. And recently, like I said, she started a small business called Equine Mementos, and that creates precious keepsakes out of horsehair. And I must say, they look stunning. So, hey, welcome, Anna. Thanks for joining me.
It's lovely to be here.
Cool. So, oh my God, your background, that is absolutely amazing. So, yeah, let's get into it. So let's tell me about the inspiration behind some of your equine mementos.
Yeah, like you said before, I'm absolutely passionate about horses, like just been my life, and I couldn't see that changing any other way. Very unfortunately, the inspiration behind Equine Mementos was after the loss of two really lovely horses of our own. So my beautiful mare Ghosty, she was just a superstar, beautiful hunting mare, jump anything, but just my best friend. So she was suffering from the lovely old grey horse syndrome and ended up with some tumours on her. So I had to make the very difficult call to put her to sleep. But at the same time, we had this lovely young horse in the wings, and I'd done a little bit of competing on, and he was just beautiful. And Michael, my husband, loved him to bits. And he just started he's only 6, and just started doing some pretty strange stuff. And he was diagnosed with wobbler syndrome, which is not a curable disease. So we spent Ghosty and he was called Griff. So Ghosty and Griff spent a week together in the paddock out the front of the house here, and we laid them to rest on the same day. So for myself, I wanted to get some jewellery made from Ghosty, obviously, and jewellery wasn't quite Michael's thing. And I had seen these beautiful horsehair rosettes and cat auburns, amazing installation from the horses that were left behind. It was a war sort of remembrance installation. So I taught myself to do that, and I went to a local riding club fundraiser, and so Equine Mementos has kind of grown from that, because my friends and family saw those and said, oh wow, that's really cool if you can make those. What about making this? What about making this? So it's kind of quite organically evolved. It's been awesome. And everything I do, I sit here and I've got Ghosty and Griff on my wall here, and I sit there and I look at the beautiful rosettes that I made for them, and they're the reason that I'm lucky enough to sit here doing this and making nice things for people. Yeah.
Oh, that's so special. So tell me, what specifically do you do with making mementos?
So I love making horsehair rosettes. They were really the start of this, and they're based on a Victorian technique, and they're beautiful. So people will send their hair and I from their horses that they've lost, and I will wash that and process it and prepare it and turn it into a memento for them. So there's also my jewellery range as well. So people can opt to have the rosettes or jewellery. So there's a lot of my time is spent washing hair, drying hair, counting hairs out. The actual braiding part of it actually doesn't take me too long, but it's just that preparation side of things.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. So how did you first come across the Victorian technique of making these horsehair rosettes?
Yeah, so like I said before, it was after seeing Cat Auburns art installation that certainly kind of tweaked my interest in it. And then, yeah, the local riding club down here did this little fundraiser, and there's one person in there, and she's also an Anna, but she, so she knew how to do these. So I went down and spent the afternoon down there, and it was great fun. I was pretty good at doing it, so I thought I can really nail this. So I started doing some research about Victorian hair work, and there's not heaps on YouTube or anything about it, but there's an amazing book called Mark Campbell's, I think it's called The Art of Hair Work, and it was published in that Victorian period. So there's a lot of information in there. It's a lot of wading through, but so I've just a lot of practice. But yeah, I can make beautiful tight rosettes now with not spiky bits on them, and they're just lovely.
I've seen some of your work, and it's beautiful. It's fascinating. I love it. So obviously the concept of a circular wreath with hair of flowers symbolizing the continuum of life is quite fascinating, really. So how do you incorporate this symbolism into your horsehair mementos, and what kind of emotional resonance does it bring to your customers?
So my main one, well, the rosettes obviously are circular, and they're very difficult to find where there's that start and finish, and that's what I really like. It's just this continuum, like you said, the circle of life. I've designed what I call the Eternity Circle pendant, and it's I love it. It's an absolutely beautiful piece, and it's not overtly horsey or anything either. So it's a piece of jewellery that very much symbolises that whole continuum of life. You can't see where the hair starts and where the hair ends. That's just lovely.
That's clever. Are you wearing one at the moment? I can just see you've got a
No, I've got
okay.
No, I actually love I designed a shoeing nail a couple of years ago, and I'm just delighted how this piece came out, and I love it's this one of my own has got my lovely old brood mare's hair in it, Joan's girl, and we've sold some nice yearlings out of her, so Joan's with me all the time. I wear it all the time, but it's just a really nice piece. It feels lovely, and again, it's actually not an overtly horsey piece. I get quite a lot of comments, and it goes with everything, which is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you just hold it up, because we can see the chain, but we just can't see the little. Oh, right, okay, that's great. And has that got has it got some of her hair in it?
Yeah, so it has an 8-strand square braid down the middle of it, and it just sits in there really nicely. And it's nice because when I run my fingers over, I can actually feel her hair, and it just, I know she's standing up there in the sun at the moment, with the sun on your back, but and it's so lovely. And I think any of those jewellery pieces, when you can touch the hair inside them, and it just immediately takes you to, the memory of your horse, or like Joan, she's still in my paddock, what's she doing now? She's up there and happy with her mates, and it's just so nice.
It is, absolutely. And I like that idea. You can feel it and touch it, which is great. So are you able to share some unique or memorable requests that you've received for horsehair mementos?
I've been really lucky because I have been asked to do some for some top horses, which is always for me extremely humbling anyway. But a friend of mine is the breeder and an owner in Trudeau, I think he's just headed off to the States. They're going to go to the World Equestrian Games with him. I think he made it to the Hall of Fame last year. Ones like that. We did a fundraiser a couple of years ago and asked Te Akau Racing if we could have some hair from Melody Bell, and she for me was an absolute superstar. I loved watching her race. She was so tough and fantastic. So to get trusted with some of her tail hair to put into a piece of jewellery to then auction as a fundraiser for somebody that needed it at the time, it's that sort of thing that that's really, really special to me.
Really rewarding too.
Yeah. But it's not just like every piece that I make is special. And someone was asking me just in the weekend, are you going up to Horse of the Year? And I said, at this stage, I've got to be really careful about my work levels. I want this to remain a very personalised, customised service where I want to hear about your horse. I want to know what your horse meant to you. And when I'm washing that hair and I'm sorting that hair and braiding that hair, it's so important to me it really is. It's just that emotional connection that is just so important.
And it's actually a privilege too, isn't it? The stories that people share in their situation. And I find it
Absolutely.
makes you so grateful, doesn't it, for your own situation?
Oh, it really does. Look, Cara, I actually lost one of my lovely horses on Friday, and it was totally unexpected, and just loved him to bits. And we pulled his shoes off, and I've got his tail here sitting right here beside me, and that's the thing I think that people I'm able to relate to people. This is my business is not just click and collect, if the syrup or anything like that. If people are going through Equine Mementos, I would like to think that they feel my empathy and my caring, because I know what it's like. I love horses. I just think they're just the most amazing creatures, and by crikey, when you lose one, it just I haven't stopped crying all weekend. So it's tough, and I hope that people will always feel that heartfelt. It just means so much to me too.
Yeah, absolutely. Because believe it or not, well, I've come from a horse background too, and and I can remember. Gosh, I unfortunately had a pony tragically killed at an AMP show up here in Taranaki, and God, I was only about 12 or something, and the hardest thing was then have to turn around and ride one of the other ponies in the Champion Hunter with trying to muck it up, and you got tears streaming down your face. So I can absolutely. I mean, obviously it was years ago now, but I can relate to that. And my dad, he used to be a racehorse trainer, and I don't know how long you've been in New Zealand, but my brother also used to be one of New Zealand's top jump jockeys, so definitely can relate to the horses. They're just amazing animals, they're just they're incredible.
That's a thing, and I think for me, I know if somebody has lost their horse, that I know, especially if they've been there for the process as well, to suddenly see this absolutely magnificent, kind, gentle, trusting animal lying on the ground. It's absolutely heart-wrenching. So I would like to think that anyone that I speak to or communicate to can feel that I know what it's like. I wish I didn't, but I do.
And that's brilliant. And I truly believe that people can see that. They can see your honesty, and they can feel it as well, which is important.
I think it was interesting I did an expo a couple of years ago, and two of my friends were either side of my stall, and at the end of the day, they were just like, how do you deal with this? Because you had so many people crying. What are you talking? What are you saying to these people? But it's not. It's just, it's letting people talk and offering them support as well. And I dish out hugs at expos if people need it.
Yeah, but it's you're not eliciting the crying. It's they feel comfortable in your presence to be able, to share that emotion. And to me, that's a compliment.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah. Oh no, good on you. That is awesome. So tell me, how do you approach the crafting of your custom pieces so that they hold sentimental value for your clients?
Yeah, so there's obviously I've got a website that's got my products on there, but I am always open to different ideas, and we try and make things happen. I work with because I'm not a jeweler. I've done a really basic jewellery course, so I know the basics of things. What I love doing is working with the hair. That's the biggie for me. So I work with this amazing jeweler in Timaru, Glenn, and so people will say, oh, can we do this? And I say, yep, leave it with me. See what we can do. And I take my designs and things up to Glenn, and he'll go, yeah, we'll see what we can do with this. And very rarely does he say we can't do it. He just makes things happen, which is awesome. And I'm so lucky to have met someone like that.
That clearly shares your passion and interest and wants to put it right for the client.
Absolutely. And they're a manufacturing workshop at that jeweller's. So it's an awesome place. You can actually go in off Stafford Street and go and watch the guys working there. They have a great big glass window, and it just gives you confidence. And for me, it's supporting local as well, which is really important.
Really. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So obviously when you first established Equine Mementos, you started off by creating the rosettes and things for family and friends. So how did the transition happen for you from crafting, obviously, the personal mementos and turning it into a business?
Yeah,
So
it
how
really
did you?
was a demand. Yeah, it was. It
Right.
really was a demand thing.
Mm-hmm.
I never expected this to happen. And it was. It was just, my friends coming around and going, "Oh, wow, that's really cool." And then another friend that came along, she said, "Oh, do you think you'd be able to make me a bracelet?" And I was like, "Yeah, I can do that." And started looking and finding suppliers. But I do love that it's not been a forced thing. It's just kind of grown, and it's grown manageably for me as well, which is really, it's lovely. I'm very lucky.
And yeah, that's how you're able to keep that personal touch going too, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Obviously, the open shape of a horseshoe in Victorian symbolizes the significance and ascent to the heavens, and it's a beautiful connection to horses. So, how do you incorporate this sort of symbolism into your designs?
Yeah, so well, obviously I've got a couple of little horseshoe pendants that are in my range, and the whole thing about that ascent to heaven with the shape of a crescent or a horseshoe is it's a really interesting one. When I see a horseshoe, if I'm going to nail it on a wall or anything, I always have to have it sitting like this, so that
Yes.
that is like that. And it's really interesting because there's a couple of different opinions on that. So I always think of it as, that ascent to the heavens, but also that your good luck can stay in it because
Yes.
it's held. It's kind of like held like a bucket, or it's a vessel holding that luck. But in some particular European countries, they have a horseshoe upside down. Well, I think it's upside down. They don't.
Oh,
They have it upside down because they don't want bad spirits settling into it,
oh,
which
okay.
it's just really interesting, different cultures and religions,
Mm.
the different thoughts on it. But for me, I think because I'm basing my work on the Victorian idea of hair work, and that was very much what they would do. So if someone passed away, a hair rosette would be made, and that would go into the middle of the wreath or the crescent, and then if someone else passed away, that one would get moved slightly to the side and another one would be put. So it would be, you see these beautiful hair work crescents. Some of them are huge and hugely elaborate, and it kind of goes back to tracing family histories and things like that as well. So yeah,
Wow, that's fascinating.
it's really, really, really interesting.
Yeah. So is this quite a popular design for your clients, the horseshoe?
Um, that horseshoes and that eternity circle, I think people really gravitate to those, and maybe it is just maybe it's an innate thing that they just, it's that continuum and that circle of life, and and that ascent to heaven kind of thing. I just wonder if that's subconsciously what's in it for people.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
like I do what a framed horseshoe, and I braid some hair and put it into the shoe itself, and then we'll do a rosette. And I love how that sits as a piece as well, because it has that hair sitting there, kind of suspended above that horseshoe shape, and it's almost like it's on its way kind of thing. And that's what that means to me in my head, is like that hair is on its way to the heavens.
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, that's really cool. I love what you do. I think it's fascinating. So, in what ways do you hope that your horsehair mementos contribute to preserving the bond between horse and owners, and obviously, the equine companions?
Yeah, I really love that, and like I said before, that you can feel the hair in my pieces. I particularly the jewelry. I think it's amazing. I find myself touching this piece of mine all the time. It just, you can feel you've got the hardness of the silver or the gold that it's set in, but then you've got the strength of the hair. And I think when you look historically too, a horse symbolizes strength and journey, and I think
Courage too, doesn't it? Horses and courage.
It does. And stability as well. And I think when I touch the hair, it kind of has its own its own, I guess it's like its own mana, and you really feel that, and you feel that strength, and just like
that's great. So as a business owner, what challenges and rewards have you had encountered running Equine Mementos, and how's the business evolved since you set it up?
So I set my business up at the end of 2019, and of course we went into lockdown, didn't we, and COVID hit. Not a great time to start a business, but I did have the maybe the luxury of this being very much internet based, and people have to send here to me anyway. So maybe while it was certainly a challenge not being able to get out to the markets, and I love it when people can pick up the rosettes or a piece of jewelry and feel it, and and feel that strength to it. COVID was hard. Going forward now, I probably need to be careful about how big it grows, because it's very important to me, the personal connection and loving every piece that I do. I would not like to get to a stage where I'm having to outsource working with people's hair. It's one thing with getting the silver molds made and things like that, but this working with the hair itself is so important to me, so that I'm very mindful of that. I want to grow my business, and I want to add a little bit more to my range, but at the core of it, it's working with people and doing the right thing with the hair is so on to me.
That's cool. So that leads me on to my next question then. So how do you envision the future of Equine Mementos?
Yeah, well, I want to do or learn more about the Victorian techniques. I have a Victorian braiding table here, so it's a very different way of using hair, and you have these long lengths of hair and intricate patterns of it's almost like a weave, really. And I would really like over this winter to get the chance to extend my skill and my knowledge with that and offer that something totally different, because anyone can make a full braid bracelet and sell that. That's fine. But I think if I can, I love the intricacies of the Victorian work, and I do want to develop that. So watch this space on that one.
That's cool, really cool. So what else would you like to tell our listeners that I haven't asked you? Is there anything that I haven't asked that you'd like to share?
I do work with other hair. It's not something that it's not something that I advertise, and I would like my core business to be with horsehair. I know how to use it, but I have done I've done bracelets with cow's tails. I've done pendants with of all things a champion guinea pig, this beautiful long guinea pig here, cats and dogs, and I have done some for people as well, which is that's a very, very humbling and emotional thing to be able to do for people. So
wow.
Well, it's not going to be my core business. I can do that. So and again, that's that whole thing of customizing and making sure what we do is the right thing for that pet or that person or the family or whatever.
Yeah, wow, that's absolutely fascinating. So how can people get hold of you, Anna, if they're thinking this is something I'd like to do?
Yeah, best way to get hold of me usually is via social media. So either a DM on Instagram or a PM on Facebook is, I'm always going to get those. Email's actually really, really good for me as well. So it's just equinemementos@gmail.com. And that I find that's really good, because then I've got a good solid contact for you. It's easy for me to find instead of trawling through some of the social media messages when some people have different last names or call themselves something different. Or pick up the phone and talk, because I understand that sometimes this can be pretty hard. I had someone just in the last week, and they lost their mare. That had a foal, that it's left an orphan foal, and they weren't there when the mare was put down either, and they came back a couple of days later, and still had to go through the process of burying the mare and things like that. So to talk through that process with me, like she was saying, the hair doesn't smell so nice, and but we talk through that, and I'm very practical on that side of things as well. So I'm very happy to talk to people and help people through.
That's brilliant, and that really shows as well with your care and passion. I'm impressed. It's wonderful. So hey, thank you so much for your time, Anna. It's been absolutely a privilege. And I'll make sure that we've got your contact details and things in the show
Perfect.
notes.
Oh,
Cool.
awesome. That's lovely. Oh, thank you for your time too, Cara. It's been, yeah, it's nice to talk about what I do. And I think for me, you know, been a pretty raw weekend for me. So I think, you know, I sort of wondered whether I get in contact with you and go, oh, too soon. But you know, this is why I do this, and it helps. And you know, I'm going to sit here sometime this week and make a nice framed rosette for my Gordy, and one for the lady who gave them to me as well. So you know, I really appreciate that we've done this. It's helped me
No.
too.
Oh, good. Oh, that's really good. So thank you.